Do you see any problems that the school system may have in the near future?
I would think the biggest problem facing the Fort Worth public schools and the biggest problem facing most large school systems is financial. There's going to be an increasing problem of finding sufficient money to finance an adequate school program. And that's one reason why the Fort Worth Board of Education has sued the state of Texas to obtain a more equitable distribution of state aid. Fort Worth is being penalized millions of dollars to which it's rightfully entitled. And Dallas and Houston are also, and they've joined us in this suit, and it's now in federal court. And if we win that suit, that will certainly ease the financial problem of the Fort Worth public schools and Houston and Dallas schools and lots of other school systems in this state.
The Dallas Public Transit Board is required to recommend to the City Council fares and schedules of fares which, when coupled with our economies in operation, will balance our budget at a given time. The budget that we submitted on October 1 last year for this fiscal year ending September 30th, 1971 showed that due to a wage and salary increase which cost the transit system $700,000 in the year, our budget would show a loss of $900,000. This $200,000 difference was because of the increased costs in other items.
We're turning out a better teacher today than we've ever turned out before, I think, in the history of education, because there's some new thinking in certain realms among certain professors, certain psychologists, who believe that we need a kind of teacher who is sensitive to the needs of students. We've been too concerned with things, with chairs and subject matter and with books. And I think this is one of the reasons we have so much rebellion among young people today, is that we haven't been concerned enough as teachers with the human feelings of students, treating them as people.
There is ways that you can have a man picked up, taken to jail if he does not pay child support. This is extremely difficult to do. You have to get a lawyer, and most of us, if we could afford a lawyer, we wouldn't need child support. There are so many people suffering because of this. Some women are unable to work. Some of them because they've never been trained. Because of health reasons, they cannot work. And these women are going to be on welfare. They live in deplorable conditions. They really do.
What happens when he is picked up? I think you explained the procedure that doesn't even always work.
No, it does not, because he may be picked up, he may be held for a few hours. He can pay part of what he is supposed to pay, even though he may be 3 or 4 months behind in his child support. If he pays a portion of it, then he is out of the hands of the law. They'll make new arrangements. For some reason, they will not hold them.
What do you think will take to get this law passed in the legislature?
I think that all the divorcees in Dallas County alone, all concerned people, could start a letter writing campaign to Austin. Write to your state senators, your state representatives. Make them pay attention. Make them know that you want this law passed. It seems to be the answer. If a man knows that his check is going to be taken away from him if he does not meet his obligation, which there's just no reason for him not to meet it. They're his children too. If he knows that they're going to take such drastic results, I believe that he'll think a long time before he misses a child support payment.
Unless the trend is reversed, the citizens, the taxpayers of Dallas, will be called upon to pay even greater taxes during the next 2 years. We fully intend to actively support those who express deep concern for the taxpayers of Dallas, both in the school board and the city council elections. We ask you to register now in order to be in a position to help by voting in your own best interest. I fully intend to run for election as mayor or for re-election as city councilman during April elections.
Well, there's very little to comment on. You know, we put in about 1,300 hours of air search. We haven't found any trace of it. I think it's unfortunate that we lost it. We'd like to find out what happened.
General, is there the possibility that that plane could be in communist hands at this moment?
Well, I hardly think that is a possibility. I just don't see, I don't understand your question.
What would a communist country pay for the inertial guidance system and the weapons control system of the FB-111?
I don't have the slightest idea.
If it's a fad, then let's say our life on Earth is a fad, because the two are tied together and there's no escape from it now. If we don't take care of the ecology, we can give up any hope of human life on the Earth or any kind of life.
This country has come a very long way since its inception. Do you feel now it is maybe too late to take that new path?
I think it's too late for some things, unfortunately. I think that some of our wildlife, some of our rivers and lakes are now, within our lifespan, unredeemable. But I think there is time, let's say, to avoid the major cataclysmic catastrophe that could happen if we don't take action right away, full scale.
The city of Euless was first told in November of 1968 by the board that its systems for sewage and sewage treatment were inadequate, and something needed to be done. The city says that they can see no point in building an entirely new sewage system now, when within a year to 18 months they'll be tied into the Trinity River Authority sewage system, possibly with Grand Prairie and Arlington. The regional office director of the Texas Water Quality Board, Dave Gill, says that his staff will recommend that the city of Euless not have to build an entirely new sewage system, but that the current system is in poor repair, needs modifications badly, and that 4 of the city's 6 lift stations have a history of overflowing and constitute a health hazard. Malcolm Landess in Euless for Channel 8 News on the Move.